Hello and welcome to Food Neighbourhoods on Monocle Radio. I'm Flynn Symonds, and once again we're taking you to the places locals love for their food and drink. Today we're heading to Lille in the northeast of France. Once part of French Flanders, this city seamlessly blends modern-day French and Flemish culture together. This, of course, includes an established and delicious food scene. I hopped on the Eurostar for a flying visit, and here's what I found. As the light flooded into the carriage of my Eurostar train to Lille, it struck me how little time it takes to cross the English Channel and arrive in a French city. What a strange feeling for someone from New Zealand, where the shortest international flight is just under 4 hours long. With France being only a 30-minute boat ride to its British neighbours to the west, and an even shorter drive to its Belgian neighbours to the north, northern France, and more specifically Lille, seems to have taken influence from, and influenced, the nations that surround it. I noticed when translating the menus on my phone, I was seeing lots of pies and stews, which I would have thought, being from a Pacific colony myself, belonged to the British, but are actually shared by many of their European counterparts. Anyway, it probably does not seem like a particularly profound observation to most. I was impressed by the variety of culinary influence in Lille. I'd like to tell you a little bit more. Generally speaking, spring is one of the best seasons for food, plants, and animals to thrive, giving us the best produce they have to offer while we enjoy their bounties in the crisp, fresh sunshine. This was true for my experience in Lille. On my first morning in the city, there was not a cloud in the sky. So, naturally, I decided to take a stroll into town for lunch and see what the place had to offer. What I first stumbled upon was the Saturday morning Sebastopol market, located in the Troisième district. I was instantly invited by the colourful displays of tin fishes situated next to the fresh fruit and veg stand, of which all of the locals seemed to be stocking themselves up for the weekend's activities. I picked up some fresh croissants and a fresh wheel of brie cheese to take back to my accommodation for an afternoon snack. From here, I wandered on into town to find somewhere to sit down for a meal. After browsing the old town for a while, and after deciding my decision was taking too long, I settled down in a cafe named We Are Ara. Due to its central location, I wrongly assumed the cafe would be a tourist trap, serving up average French fare to unknowing visitors, but I couldn't have been more wrong. After a scan of the innovative menu, I opted for the salmon en pain au lait brioche, served with cream cheese and a squeeze of lemon. To be honest, I was not entirely sure what to expect, but I was surprised how well the sweet brioche pastry-esque bread worked with the smoky and tartier flavours of the rest of the dish. I will acknowledge that salmon and cream cheese is not exactly the most French or even European combination one can find. Dinner for me that evening, however, was about as northern French as it gets. Arriving at Estaminet-la-Ville at about 7 p.m, which of course is early by Lille standards, I was seated in their outside terrace, enjoying the last few hours of the warm late spring sun. Here, I tucked into a baked chicken and fresh leek casserole, topped with Maroilles cheese, a staple in the northern regions of France, paired with a delicious glass of Gabellier 2023. After dinner, I headed out back to the bar around the corner from my accommodation, La Boutique. This trendy, vibrant but stripped-back version of a bistro was swarming with locals. An easy tell that an establishment is worthy of your money. I took a seat on the street outside with my craft beer and was instantly bombarded with bonjours from the surrounding tables. After communicating to them that I didn't speak any French, they switched to English and asked me where I'd come from. It blew their minds to think that someone all the way from New Zealand had come to visit them in Lille. But after explaining I lived in London and had nabbed a cheap Eurostar ticket, they were a little more understanding. While chatting, a man named Remy was explaining how important food is for the French. He said their local corner stores were filled with fresh meats, cheeses and breads so that cooking or preparing a good meal in your home was always accessible. So, naturally, I decided to test this, and as most eateries in Lille don't open until early afternoon, I needed somewhere for breakfast. So I stopped into the local corner store for some fresh croissants, artisan cheeses, and cold cuts to make myself a baked croissant in my accommodation. These were incredible. After spending the rest of the day walking around Parc de la Citadelle, I had worked up yet another appetite. It was time to head to my next dinner reservation, Estaminet chez Tite Brigitte, a wonderfully cosy spot filled with northern French memorabilia, situated just outside of the old town. Perusing the menu here, I was again met with many northern French and Belgian dishes. I started with a cured herring plate and a main course of the carbonade flambée, a slow-cooked beef cut and a local brewed IPA. For dessert, of course, I went for the creme brulee. Before journeying back to Lille Europe station to catch my train back to London, I thought I'd better get some French delights to take back with me. And since I had plenty of space in my bag, what better place than Marché du Troisième? Located only 5 minutes walk from my accommodation, this market had it all. From kids' toys to a whole salmon, it was difficult to know where to start. Not really though, I was headed straight for the cheese. Looking over the glass cabinet at all of the types of cheese, my head started to spin. Luckily, the vendor there was able to speak English, and he recommended me a wheel of Neuchâtel, a soft cow's milk cheese originating in the Normandy region. I also tried out a more firm, smoky type, Vieux Boulogne. This again is a cow's milk cheese with a much richer flavour and firmer texture. As the Eurostar arose back out of the creatively named channel, I unzipped my bag, too eager to wait until I was home, and took out the Vieux Boulogne block of cheese and half a baguette left over from lunch that day. I learnt quickly that an enclosed space such as a train carriage is not the best place to bring out a particularly pungent variety of cheese. For Monocle in Lille, I'm Flynn Symonds. Food Neighbourhoods is a Monocle production from the team behind the menu. This episode was written and edited by myself. For more food and drink stories, tune into the menu every Friday at 2000 London time. I'm Flynn Symonds, and thanks for listening.